Good morning. Today's lead story is about Israel resuming its attacks in Gaza in a kind of collapse of the ceasefire. It's not an easy story to read, and those of you who read the written version of my newsletter this morning will understand that I had some fairly strong emotional reactions to it. About 130 children have died in these attacks, and perhaps the most striking thing about this is that there was a plan to kind of continue the ceasefire. Hamas was going to turn over some hostages, and all was going to be well, effectively. Unfortunately, the Prime Minister of Israel, I think, needed to maintain his majority in Parliament and had to ally himself with a far-right party, and they supported the kind of return to bombing. Also, Israel consulted with Donald Trump's administration on this, and Trump also tacitly supports this, and his spokesperson yesterday said that they run the idea past him. I always find it very difficult to look at images of dead children, and particularly when their deaths were preventable. I don't really know what to say about that. This is not an easy story to read, and as I've been feeling strongly about the coverage, I reflect on the fact that historically I probably would have just glossed this. Like I wouldn't have bothered reading this story because I knew kind of what it said, and I kind of knew that the conflict in Gaza is very, very tricky, and would have numbed myself and not bothered reading it. However, I've taken on this project, which means that I have to read the newspaper every day so that you don't have to. And unfortunately, that means I've had to sit this morning with some fairly uncomfortable emotions as I've responded. A good friend of mine recently wrote a very good newsletter describing his feelings about the conflict in Gaza. And effectively, I'm going to just say the same thing. That I have friends on both sides. As a New Yorker, I'm often pressured to pick a side, and I recognise the risks in doing so. I will say that I don't support the killing of children as a tactic to speed up a peace process that was already going well. What's remarkable here is that former hostages have come out and said they don't understand this bombing. And really, it looks to me like the Trump administration is pursuing a parking lot strategy in Gaza, which is part of all of our collective responsibility. We voted to elect a president who seems not to care that this is the impact. I'm a US citizen, and I'm from Britain. I worry that as a result of having feelings about this story this morning, my name will end up on a list. And in a democracy, that's a remarkably tragic feeling. And I wonder if other Americans feel as strongly as I do, or if the majority of us will prefer not to read this story and think about it because it's too difficult. What's an easy response to this? I feel that we should not be supporting this approach, and that we should have worked harder to secure the ongoing peace process than to have supported this approach. It's also very interesting that yesterday the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court rebuked Donald Trump for calling for the impeachment of a judge who his administration is ignoring. That's not even on the front page right now. Oh yes, it is. No, it isn't. Chief Supreme Court judge yesterday rebuked Donald Trump for calling for the impeachment of the judge. It is part of an onslaught by the Republicans on federal judges. Not the lead story, because the lead story is that we're trying to turn Gaza into a parking lot. Sorry, I'm not more upbeat. Appreciate appreciate you reading the newspaper with me so that I don't have to read the newspaper alone. Let's all reflect on this and see how we feel by tomorrow, eh? Take it easy. God.